Hi, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my craft room. I have, yes, another Christmas card today. I'm definitely doing more than just my Christmas on the 25th this month, but this is a shaker card and it's going to be inspired by the Lawn Fawn Christmas in July challenge, the Lawn Fanatics challenge this month. I'm going to be using my Stockings Were Hun Sparkle Blend. There's a lot of fun green and red and gold tones in this mix. So I'm grabbing some of my Lawn Fawn products. I have some really old Petite paper packs, my Christmas tree dies, as well as the Ho Ho Holidays and Holiday Helpers stamp set. So I'm going to go through my old Lawn Fawn paper pads here and see what color papers I like that will match my sparkle blends the best. I didn't really find what I liked in the first pad, so I'm going to grab my Peace Joy Love Petite paper pack and I'm going to pick my papers from here. There's a lot of P's in that sentence. This is a retired paper pad, but hopefully you have this in your stash as well, or you can use any Christmas paper that you have if you want to replicate this card. So I'm also going through my cardstock and picking a green that I think matches best with the sparkle blends, and I end up going with Cilantro from Lawn Fawn. And I'm going to use that cardstock to cut out my frame. So this is the Stitched Christmas Tree Frames Long Cut set. And then I'm also going to grab the outside in Stitched Christmas Tree Stackables to cut out my tree from that really pretty kind of leafy background. And these two pieces will fit perfectly together. So I went ahead and die cut. You can see they layer really well. And I'm going to cut another outside in stitched Christmas tree out of some acetate. So everything will line up very nicely for my shaker. So first I'm going to flip over my Christmas tree frame and I'm going to add some of my adhesive. This is a 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive roll, and I'm going to go all the way around my Christmas tree frame and then pull off the release paper. And I'm going to very carefully add my acetate tree because it does fit perfectly behind that frame. And then I'm going to pretty much repeat that same process, but this time I'm going to use some foam adhesive. This is a super sticky foam adhesive. I got it as a sample to try, so I don't have it linked, but you can use Hefty Doodles foam strips as well. And I peel off both sides of my release paper because it's just so much easier to wrap the foam adhesive around the frame when there's no paper trying to keep it in a straight line. So I'm going to just keep going all the way around my tree. Normally I kind of fast forward to this part, but since this video is focusing on the shaker part, I want to leave it all in. So when I apply my next strip of foam adhesive, I make sure it's butt up against the one I just finished laying down because I don't want there to be any holes or open areas where the shaker pieces can fall out of. So really make sure that you line up all of your foam when you have to move on to another piece. It's really butted up against each other and there's no way for those fun little shaker bits to escape. So I'm going to finish up my frame here, again trimming to make sure my last 2 points are nice and snug. And now I'm going to grab my anti-static powder tool. I don't think this is totally necessary for this foam adhesive, but I did run my acetate through a die cut machine and sometimes that will add some static. So I'm just using that to make sure that my acetate isn't going to just cling all of my sequins inside. I use a Swiffer cloth to just pick up any of the excess powder on the acetate itself. So now I'm going to pour in a healthy amount of my sparkle blends. Again, this is the Stockings Were Hung blend because it's a pretty big tree and I want to make sure there's lots of goodies inside of it. I'm just going to make sure everything is as flat as possible so nothing gets stuck. And then finally, I will add the backing part of my tree. So again, doing my very best to carefully place that in so that doesn't show along the edges of my frame. So I did pretty well, really pressing down against that adhesive, making sure my shaker is nice and snug and nothing seems to be escaping, so that is good. Next, I'm going to work on putting together a card base. So I wanted to use my die cut, this is the Peppermint Stripes background die, on some pattern paper. So I'm going through to see what's going to look best, and I settle on this really pretty striped blue cardstock. And I didn't want to just glue this blue cardstock down. Like I said, I wanted some to use this peppermint stripe to add some texture to the card. I was originally thinking I would just die cut it and then I would glue everything onto the background so it just adds some texture. But I didn't like it and I kind of regretted die cutting it. This was me kind of like, ugh, I should have just glued it down to the base, but we're going to make it work. We're going to try something. So I'm going to pop out all of those pieces and then I will see how it looks on my card base. And I liked the white showing through, but I felt like it just lost a lot of the pretty detail on the blue paper. And I didn't have another sheet to try again, like to just glue it onto the background, but it needed something more. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab my wet glue with the fine point tip and just add glue all behind that background and glue it onto my top folding A2 white cardstock base. And again, I'm just thinking to myself, it's missing something. So I decided to grab my pearlescent vellum paper and I'm going to die cut all of my little peppermint stripes out of that. It probably would have been far easier to just glue this down, like a sheet of it, before gluing down the blue cardstock, but instead I'm going to take my time, it takes a long time, to add in all of these little stripes of vellum. Now the vellum is really loose, but it does add a really nice shine to the white, so I'm pretty happy with it, but it's not like a sturdy piece of cardstock where it fits, you know, just pops in like a puzzle piece, because it's vellum and very fragile and very bendable. It takes me some time to get all of those pieces in and placed nicely and snug inside of their little openings, but overall I'm glad I did it. It made me feel much better about my card base. For the final touches of my card, I wanted to add in some stamped images. So again, I'm using Ho Ho Holidays and Holiday Helpers to add a few images. I'm going to bring in Santa, Rudolph, and Elf, and I'm going to have the nice list and a plate of cookies. I went ahead and colored and cut all of these images off camera because I'm focusing more on the shaker part of this card. So I don't have the coordinating die sets for these stamp sets, but I decided to just fussy cut them out, but I will link down below coordinating dies as I can find them because I know that these are a little bit older stamp sets. So I used some wet glue to attach my tree down to my card base, and then I'm going to use some wet glue to add in my stamped images. So as you can see, I tried stamping it once but accidentally double stamped, like the images weren't lined up correctly when I did a second layer of ink. So I just flipped over my paper and stamped again, no problem. So again, gluing my little Santa down, he is going on the bottom left with the nice list, and then I'm going to have my little elf helper here. She's going to hold the plate of cookies. So I added a little bit of glue behind their hands before adding in the images that they're holding. So like Santa with the nice list, and then my little elf helper with the plate of cookies. Now that all my images are down, I'm going to use my pops of color in a white gloss, and I'm going to use this to add some texture to Santa's hat and coat as well. No, just his hat and coat. So I'm adding it to the little ball on the end of his hat as well as the brim of his Santa hat, and this is just to add a fluffy texture look, and I'm going to add it to the bottom of his jacket as well as the cuffs. I felt that gave the white part of my Santa's outfit a little more fun and texture, like I said. And then I did add a little bit of red ruby pops of color and a glitter to Rudolph's nose. Here is a final look at my shaker. I absolutely love the colors and how fun this shaker is. I love that it's tree shaped, which makes it so easy using Lawn Fawn's dies. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!